like I said, when you're ovulating, because of an increase in progesterone hormone, there will be a rise in your basal body temperature. And this is only a slight rise or a slight increase. So this will be reflected in your charting. What's up, beautiful people? Welcome to another exciting episode of TTC Diaries with Dr. O. Yeah, I'm always super excited to have you guys here with me. You already know. I don't have to keep saying it all the time. Thank you for always watching. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for everything. Really, you guys are just the best. Okay, so as you already know, if you're new here, this show is for TTC moms. TTC means trying to conceive. So if you're trying to have a baby, you've been trying to get pregnant, then you're in the right place, because this is what we talk about all day, every day, right? And today is not going to be any different. We're going to be talking about how to know when you're ovulating. We all know that if you're trying to get pregnant, one of the things you always track like a detective is your ovulation period or your ovulation day, because we all know that for you to get pregnant, the sperm needs to fertilize the egg, okay, to form an embryo, which is your baby. And I'll be explaining more about that in other videos, which you should definitely look out for. But today, like I said, our focus is going to be on how would you know when you're ovulating. There's also going to be a video on how to calculate your ovulation using the calendar method. I did a whole video on that. However, today's focus is going to be on other ways you can know you're ovulating. So we know we have the calendar method. We've dealt with that already. Now, how else would I know that I'm ovulating besides the calendar method? Besides, the calendar method usually only works best for people that have a regular cycle. So if you don't have a regular cycle, right, or you're just not great at counting, you're not good at maths like some of us, how would you know when you're ovulating? Right, so fear not, we're going to be discussing that today in just a bit. One way that you can know if you're ovulating is something we call Mittelsmers. I hope I pronounced it well. It's a German word for middle pain. What does middle pain mean? Now, take note that not every woman actually experiences this. It's only the few lucky women that actually get to experience this one sign of ovulation. And it's just like giveaway, because once you have middle pain, you don't need any other sign. You don't need your calendar method. You don't need to go through using all the other ones I'm going to talk about today, right? Because your body is already telling you like, hey, I'm ovulating. It's time for you to get busy, get that kind of thing. So, what's middle pain? If you've ever experienced middle pain before, let me know down below in the comment section, right? Is this lower abdominal pain? It's like dull, achy pain. Not really like menstrual pain, but almost. It's like the beginning of menstrual cramps. That's how it feels like. It feels a bit like menstrual cramps that are just starting. It's dull and it's achy, and it's just there in the background, like it just stays there. And you notice that how you can tell it's middle pain is if you're someone that experiences it frequently. You always experience it from the side of the body that the egg is being released from. So for example, if the egg is being released from your right ovaries, then you would feel middle pain on your right. If it's being released on your left ovaries, you'll feel middle pain on your left. And if you notice, sometimes it changes from time to month. This month might be the right side, this month, the next month might be the left side. And then if you notice, there's always 1 month that is always more prominent than the other. So you feel it more frequently on the right side than on the left. That way you know which of your ovaries is more active. So basically, this pain is like dull, achy pain. You feel it, and it usually lasts for like a few hours, maybe 12 to 24 hours, right? The pain is usually not so crazy that you need to take pain relievers, but it's kind of pain that you know is there. You can't ignore it, right? It's there. So one way to know if you have middle pain is if you notice that during your cycle, you're experiencing this kind of pain. That might be a sign that, okay, I'm one of those lucky ones that experience middle pain. Anytime you experience that middle pain, like I said, get busy. You know what to do. Even if you're one that experiences middle pain, you might not experience it every single cycle, right? There are sometimes you may experience it, sometimes you don't. But more often than not, you will experience it if you're one that experiences it. So look out for that sign and let me know in the comment section if you've experienced it and if that has helped you to determine when you're ovulating. Another way to know if you're ovulating. This is a very, very popular method that most women know. And this is like the cervical mucus method. I know that it sounds like a very, very you're yucky, like my daughter would say, a yucky method of detecting when you're ovulating. So basically, as menstrual cycle progresses, you notice that there will become a change in your cervical mucus. So around the time you're ovulating, or when you ovulate, there's going to be an increase in cervical mucus. So you're going to be getting more cervical mucus. By the way, cervical mucus comes out and you most times see it on your underwear when you go to use the bathroom. There's going to be an increase in cervical mucus or cervical discharge, right? So you're going to be seeing more of it. And so let's say throughout your cycle, maybe once in a while you might see discharge. It might not be so much, and then sometimes it's not even there. But during the ovulation time, you will see more discharge than usual, right? And if you're someone that is very observant, if you check your mucus regularly, you see that this cervical mucus that we're talking about that happens during ovulation is normally more, and then it's stretchy. So it's clear. It's not very thick. It's thin, clear, and it's stretchy. So for example, if you just took small and then put it on your finger and try to bring your fingers apart, you will see that the mucus will stretch. That's a sign that you're ovulating. Yeah, I know this sounds really disgusting, but what the hell, you can try it out. Just make sure that you wash your hands when you're done. So that's one way to know when you see that there's an increase in your cervical mucus and it's different from the regular discharge, in that it's more and it's clearer, more like whitish clear than yellow or anything, and it's, as opposed to being thick, it's thinner, right? That's how you know you are ovulating. Please take note that this only happens during your ovulation. So let's say for like 24 hours, 48 hours, thereabout. So if you're experiencing vaginal discharge like continuously for like 1 week, 2 weeks, and the discharge is getting much, it's foul smelling, and then maybe it's associated with some abdominal pain that is lasting more than the 24 hours, or middle pain that we know, you might actually have a genital tract infection. Please get that investigated in the doctor's office, right? Don't mix up abnormal vaginal discharge with cervical mucus. You need to know the difference. Cervical mucus is thin, it's usually whitish or transparent, and it is stretchy, and it doesn't smell bad. But abnormal vaginal discharge could smell bad, could be thick, and the color could be strange, right? Based on what infection you have. Some might be greenish, some might actually be whitish, but then it will have a funny smell more often than not, right? And then it will be associated with other symptoms that don't have to do with ovulation. We've talked about middle pain, we've talked about cervical mucus. Now, the third way to know if you are ovulating, this one is by using what we call the basal body temperature. So basically, basal body temperature is your temperature at rest. Rest literally means rest, like you're not doing anything, right? Now, when you're ovulating, there's a slight increase in your basal body temperature. So basically, this method of checking for ovulation is not always accurate. It has a lot of things that you need to do, right? So it might be a bit stressful having to track your ovulation using basal body temperature. But then if you're very observant and you have the time, it's worth trying, right? So this is how it goes. When you're ovulating, there's a slight increase in your basal body temperature, right? When you ovulate. Before you can use this method to check that you're ovulating, it means that you are measuring your temperature for the whole of your cycle. So basically, you start measuring your temperature from day one of your cycle. Use a thermometer. Don't use those infrared thermometers, they're not very accurate. Preferably use a probe thermometer, and to measure your temperature, preferably do an oral temperature measurement. So that means place the thermometer at the tip of your tongue and close your mouth and measure your temperature. Now, before you measure your temperature, don't drink or eat anything 30 minutes before. Don't chew gum. Don't eat any type of food, right? It can affect like the accuracy of your temperature readings. Because it's basal body temperature, this temperature has to be taken at rest. So it must be taken only in the mornings, right? So best for you to just place your thermometer by your bedside when you're going to sleep. So when you wake up, you can take it. Before you take your basal body temperature, you cannot get up and say you're going to the bathroom, because you might affect the temperature readings. Yeah, it's that bad. So basically, the whole idea is that you've been sleeping. Take notes. You cannot be sleeping and waking up 10 times in the middle of the night to pee. You affect the basal body temperature. But let's say you have had at least 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and then you wake up. then you can take a temperature. But if you have had only 2 hours of sleep, 1 hour of sleep, or you have 2 hours, wake up, 3 hours, wake up, nah, it won't work for you. 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep. Keep your thermometer by your bedside. Immediately you open your eyes, just take the thermometer, pop it into your mouth, take your temperature reading. Now, it doesn't just stop there. You need to chart it. If not, you'll be wasting your time, right? So every time you record and you take a temperature reading, whatever the thermometer reads, write it down. Every time you record, whatever the thermometer reads, write it down. Another thing you must take note of, you must take this temperature around the same time every day. So for example, if you pick 7 a.m. in the morning, make sure that there is no 30 minutes difference between when you usually take temperature every day. So for example, the latest you should take temperature the next day should be 7:30. Preferably do it 7 a.m. every morning for you to get the best results. Pick 8 a.m. do it 8 a.m. every morning. But it must be in the morning. You must have had 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and immediately after waking up, you cannot say, I'm going to the toilet to ease myself. You stay there, check your temperature before you move, if you know you want to get accurate readings. Okay? And make sure you chart it. Like I said, when you're ovulating, because of an increase in progesterone hormone, there will be a rise in your temperature, your basal body temperature, and this is only a slight rise or a slight increase. So this will be reflected in your charting. At that point that your temperature goes up, or you notice that rise, it means that ovulation has already taken place. So that's the thing about this method. It's telling you when ovulation has taken place. So it doesn't mean that ovulation is about to take place. That would have been great, because then you can prepare. Now it's telling you that it has already taken place. But the good thing is ovulation normally lasts for 24 hours. When you ovulate, the egg is usually present for about 24 hours. So you still have 24 hours for the sperm to fertilize the egg. So if you just notice a spike in temperature, you know what to do. Get busy. Take note though that for you to be a pro at this, you have to have done this for like 2, 3, 4 cycles, right? For you to be able to be good at measuring it and getting it accurate in life. So the next method I want to discuss for checking when you're ovulating, or for you to know how you're ovulating, and the final one is what we call the ovulation predictor kit. You know, technology has made things so easy for us now. You have pregnancy tests, you can do at home and stuff like that. And now we even have ovulation predictor kit that can predict when you're ovulating, making your work easy. Of course, you know, nothing is 100% accurate. So of course, ovulation predictor kit might have its inaccuracies. It also depends on how you use it. These are the 4 major ways that you can use to tell when you're ovulating. You have the middle pain, which not everyone experiences, only the lucky ones, but who knows, you might be lucky. We have the cervical mucus or cervical discharge, which everyone has, but you need to be really observant to use this, and not to mention the yucky method, but it's what they tried. Then you have the basal body temperature, which could be really stressful, could be inaccurate as well, but still worth a try. And then the last one, ovulation predictor testing kit, which I have a video about, which you should look out for. That's that about it. Let me know if you've tried any of these methods. Let me know if they worked for you. Let me know what your experience was like. If you enjoyed watching this video, kindly click the subscribe button, and don't forget to share it with someone you think might need to see this. Like I always say, you're not alone in this pregnancy journey. Just keep your eyes on the prize, and your baby will be here sooner than you think. See you next week.